Hey everybody, I'm back again making another one of these videos. The last one that I made is for Bulbasaur, and this one is going to be for Ivysaur. Obviously, I'm doing this in order, so if you want to see a specific Pokemon, just comment it in, like, let me know in the comments, and I'll do it probably. Um, but yeah, if you want to see a specific Pokemon, one that you really like, or something like that, just let me know in the comments so I can do it before I would get to it normally. This is gonna be Ivysaur. So Ivysaur doesn't have a lot more a lot of cards compared to Bulbasaur or Venusaur. But Ivysaur still has some pretty nice cards. Firstly, we have the one from base set. So this one's by Ken Sugimori. Pretty simple illustration. This is using Sugimori's watercolor style, which I prefer to his newer like more specific style. But the watercolor style is really nice. This is not my favorite illustration of Ivysaur by any means, so we're just gonna put it in B tier and move on with it. Next, we have the Gym Challenge one, the Erica's Ivysaur. This one's also by Ken Sugimori, featuring the watercolor style. I think this one has a little bit more stuff going on. You have like the flowers, and then you have the Ivysaur in it as well. I think Ivysaur looks a little bit more interesting as well. Just comparing two artworks by the same artist, I would say actually I put this like that, C and B. The next one that we have is the Southern Islands one. Can't really see it in the image, but I have a picture pulled up right here. This one's by Keiko Fukuyama, who is an older artist who used to work on the Pokemon TCG up until Skyridge. So a long time ago, this artist worked, but their artwork is pretty great. This is a part of the Southern Islands set of cards, so you have all of them connected into one. This one is quite nice. I have to put it in A tier just because I like the artwork itself, and I think Ivysaur looks pretty interesting in it. Actually, I'm gonna move it back down to B tier, just for now. The next one that we have is a promo, best of game promo, which is one of those promos that they would give out during tournaments back in the day. This is the Dark Ivysaur by Shinichi Yoshida. This card is quite nice looking. I like Shinichi Yoshida's style a lot, and I like those thick, dark outlines around the Pokemon. It makes it look very interesting. The Pokemon looks upset. The colors are a little bit more like saturated. They feel a little bit more lively almost. Kind of weird to see Ivysaur look purple. This is like a weird, interesting color for it. But I put it in A tier just for sheer uniqueness alone, you know? I think it's a nice looking card. We have the Ivysaur from Expedition. This is by Miki Tanaka. You can kind of tell by their style, because back in the day they used to do a lot of these like weird like droplets that flew off of the Pokemon. Ivysaur looks a little bit fat in this picture, but to be fair, that's what Ivysaur kind of looks like. I think that the card looks pretty nice. The background is a little bit too simplistic, even for like Miki Tanaka cards. I like Miki Tanaka's cards, but I would put this in C tier, probably above just probably like right here. I think is fair. But I do think it is still a nice looking card. We have the one from Atsuko Nishida by or in Fire Red and Leaf Green, EX Eris set. I like the colors. I like how like you have like the autumn leaves in the front, and then you have like the trees in the back. I like Ivysaur's expression on its face, and I like the bud on its back. I think it looks quite nice. Um, his face looks a little bit too upset for me. I think I know that Ivysaur is kind of like the more upset out of the evolution line. Well, Venusaur is obviously the most upset, but I would still put this one in like B tier, I would say. I think that's fair for it. The next one is a Ken Sugimori. This is what I was talking about. I prefer his older watercolor style to like the full like regular line art that's like the default poses or whatever. This one doesn't really interest me, draw me in or anything like that. It doesn't make me second guess anything or want to change my mind. But this one is nice. The one from Midori Harada. This is from Pop Series 3. I like the bottom up angle. I also like the bud on this one quite a lot, and I think that like the angle alone and the Ivysaur's expression, it looks a little bit more like characterized than some of the other ones. So I'll put this one in A tier. And I think it's a good looking card for sure. We have the one from Crystal Guardians by Sumiyoshi Kizuki. Like I said in the last video, this one and the Bulbasaur go together to make one image, which is really cool. It's a nice idea for a card, and yeah, I'm actually a fan of it. So I'll put it in B tier. Put it like high B tier. Move this one down to C tier, just to kind of adjust the list a little bit. We have one from EX Crystal Guardians by Hisao Nakamura. So this is one of Hisao Nakamura's final cards. Um, but I think it looks nice. I like how it's like on top of the little sand piles, you have the crystals to represent the set, which is something that they used to do. You have the water and the mountains and stuff like that in the background, and then you have Ivysaur looking straight onto the camera. I think you get to see a good amount of the design, like a good amount of the Pokemon. I think its expression is good. I think the leaves are good. So I'd put it in like high C or B tier, probably B tier. Move down the Atsuko Nishida one a little bit. And yeah, I think that's fine for now. And then our next one is going to be from Secret Wonders. This is by Kagemaru Himeno. This is pretty cool, actually. You have like a straight-on view of Ivysaur running towards the camera, which is a card that we haven't seen yet. So that's cool. I like the perspective, at least. The background is nice. The sky looks obviously really nice as well. Um, it's obviously, I don't think it's my favorite Ivysaur card, and it's definitely not my favorite Kagemaru Himeno card, but I would put it in C tier. I do not mind it at all. We have one from Supreme Victors. This is by Kanako Io. Kanako Io is an artist who worked on a lot of different cards back in the day, but they actually kind of stopped in the Sun and Moon era, so we haven't really seen cards from them in a while. But I really like their style, especially for their Pokemon. They have like this really nice like kind of like the thick outlines, but it has like a kind of like a grainy texture to it. You have the leaves in the background, and the colors are so vibrant. They're so like lush. Like the bud is such a nice color, and Ivysaur itself is very well characterized. It's very dynamic. So I'll put it in A tier, like high A tier. Maybe I'll put it in S tier actually. I think it's a really nice looking card personally. And we have this one by Sui from Dark Explorers. For some reason, all the black and white cards are always so like saturated. I don't know why, but I think that the card looks really nice. I think it makes Ivysaur look a little bit more menacing with Sui's kind of like shading style, how it, like they get a little bit more like black on it, so you kind of get a little bit more of a shadowy kind of shading. The Pokemon looks pretty cool, pretty menacing, I would say. So I would put it in B tier, or actually I'll put it in A tier. I think it's pretty visually appealing. We have one from Shining Legends by Koki Saito. This one is kind of hard to see. Ivysaur looks really happy. It actually looks a lot like Bulbasaur in this card. I don't know if that's just because Ivysaur kind of looks like Bulbasaur, but I feel like out of all the Ivysaur cards, this card looks the most like Bulbasaur. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like Ivysaur always has that kind of disgruntled face to it, or it has like, its bud is kind of like more accentuated to really show that it's different from Bulbasaur, but this one he feels kind of like Bulbasaur. His face, there's something about it that just makes me think that he kind of looks like Bulbasaur. That doesn't make it a bad card by any means. I think it's still perfectly fine. Um, but honestly, and I think it's gonna be a D tier card. I don't mind it. And if the picture was in higher quality, I think I like the colors and stuff like that. I don't hate it. And I don't hate Koki Saito's artwork. It's just not my favorite Ivysaur card. This one is nice. This one's by Zig. Zig is a more modern artist. They work on a lot of more modern cards, but this artwork is fantastic. You have like the petals flowing around. You have multiple Pokemon. You got Spinarak, Numel, Bidoof, and then you have Ivysaur shooting petals out of its bud. First time we've seen something like that for an Ivysaur card, and then you have like the Pokestop in the background to represent Pokemon Go. For the set, Pokemon Go, I think it does a perfect job illustrating the set. It looks amazing. I think it looks really cool, honestly. So I'll put it in an S tier as well. I think it's a really striking card visually, and I think it looks really nice, like overall. We have the Ivysaur from 151 by Yu Nishida, who's the same artist who did the Bulbasaur from the same set, so you kind of have like a similar style. But you have like the sun like peering onto the bud, and you have like these like light effects kind of coming up from the ground, which is really cool. I think the colors in this card are good. I like the background, I like the foreground, I like pretty much everything about it. So put it in high A tier, Like I think it's a good card. And then we have the Art Rare, which is the final card for Ivysaur. We have another one, but it's like a reprint, so we're not going to count it in this video. This is by Yoriyuki Ikegami, who did the card for Bulbasaur, obviously as well. They did the whole evolution line, which is something really cool. I think that that's a really good idea for 151, and I think that this Ivysaur card is just fantastic. I mean, he's looking at his own reflection. You have like a bunch of lily pads, you have a bunch of like vines that are going deep underwater, and you have like all the lush, like beautiful wildlife and not wildlife, but like the fauna, fauna or flora, flora. I think it's flora actually. Let me look it up. Yes, flora is like the plants. So I was right. No, I was wrong. Anyways, I think that this card is an S tier for sure. I think it's definitely like one of my favorite Ivysaur cards, if not my favorite. And this is my list. I think everything that's in every tier makes sense. Um, There's nothing that I really need to change. And I actually do like the Mickey Tanaka card quite a bit. I keep looking at it and I really don't think it's a D tier card. So I'll put it up in B tier because Mickey Tanaka's style is quite nice and artistic, like quite nice and like stylized. So I'll put it up there. And yeah, that's my list on every Ivysaur card. This is kind of a shorter video than Bulbasaur, I'm sure, but yeah, I still hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one.